Okay, we're going to do this chair. This is from the 1950s or 60s, so it's a mid-century chair. I thought it was kind of cool, but I chose this because it has one single negative shape in the middle. And that negative shape is what we're going to do. We're going to use it as a basic unit, this width here and this height here, to use for other things. So you'll see the tutorial in Canvas that you can look at, and then I'm going to show you here. Now, this is this original size it printed, and if I wanted to do it the exact size as my print or close to it, it would be kind of small on my paper. So I could size that up by just using a bigger basic unit for my base here, or I could print it at like 150%. That might make it easier as I teach you so that you can see this. So I'm just going to use this one as my basic unit. Now, when I measure here, I'm just going to use this guy to measure. This basic unit, if I go across here, it's about 1, 2, 3, a little bit less than a third across. So I'm going to take this same basic unit and I'm just going to do it the same size on here. I'm going to take this basic unit. It shows this width right here. So that is the width that I'm going to do right here. It's right in the middle of my drawing. So what I'm going to do, just to make it easy, I'm going to set that right there. And then I'm going to use my eraser and I'm going to make a little mark here and a little mark here. Okay, so that is the little tick mark for my basic unit here. Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to mark it right here. So about right there. And I think I'll switch to this eraser right now so that I can get this a little bit more. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to erase that shape. We're going to draw with our erasers instead of with the charcoal. And I can see that it's kind of curving at the top. And the thing to remember with using this is we're trying to make a shape, not a line drawing. We began the semester doing line drawings, and now we are working on shape and value. So you can see this chair seat swoops down. I've got my mark down there, so I'm going to pull that like that. I can always make adjustments later, but it's a good place for me to start. Now my mark that I made right here, that is for the edge where the chair seat is. But I can see that it goes back a little bit further. So I'm gonna bring that back here a little bit more. Now I've got all these little cracker crumbs I'm going to have to keep brushing off. That is my negative shape there. So, and that's what we're working on, is all these negative shapes. Now I can take anything on this drawing and measure it and use the same measurement here. So that's what I'm going to do there. That is the good part about doing something the same size. Now as I get this outline, I want to line this edge up with this edge. I don't want to leave a single line. I don't want it like a halo. Now this part of my seat comes over here and around and down. Got to get my legs going right here. So what I can do is I can mark it both ways. I can use my charcoal or I can use my eraser. Either way will work. But I'm drawing it lightly here. That just might help me get my angles and to figure out what's going on here. I don't know exactly where these end, but I do know that these will line up into a perspective square. So they're not going to all end at the same height on the paper, I need to make sure that I get the legs lined up into a square. Does that make sense? I can see this leg comes up here and almost hits that corner there. So I'm going to give myself a little mark there. This one comes almost straight up. I'm going to give myself a little mark there. And this one, if I look at this, is higher on the page than that one. So I want to make sure if my leg's going to be down here. Let's see how we're doing. My leg's going to be here. Then I got to make that higher up there. Okay, now that's just kind of an approximation. And I'm going to come down here and about that far from the bottom of my seat, or yeah, the bottom of my basic unit is the bottom of that seat. And I'm going to start erasing what isn't my chair. Because that's what we're doing here, is we're dealing with that negative space. I don't have to be real sharp about it. I can just kind of be exact. You can see right now, if I left it that big, that would be way too thick. So I can come back and lighten that a little bit. I'm just gonna get a basic kind of idea of about what's going on in this drawing with the outline. Because I got to work with these negative shapes. This is all negative shape, everything that isn't the chair. I get this coming out over here. That might be tipping a little bit too much, so I can come back in and just correct it with my smudgy. And then I've got to get this shape over here. Now this width here is pretty close to that width here because it's got the width and the depth on it. It's a little bit deeper, so we're gonna, pretty close, pretty good guess. Adjust that. I've got to get this to come around. Is it making sense here? You're starting to see the chair, I hope. Now I'm going to smudge these a little bit so that they're not distracting to my eye. And I can work a little bit more on what that negative shape is. Now these edges here are nice and straight. And what I can do is take a piece of paper and get a nice straight edge like that. If I have to adjust it, I adjust it. But needs to be a little bit skinnier at the bottom. Let's see. I feel like my chair legs are a little bit too long there. So we'll get the length there. come back and readjust that. A bit more straight up than that. I want those to be about the same there, so it's going to end it about right there. Sometimes you kind of have to mark where you want it to be. The other thing you can do is, so I need to erase here a little bit. But if I needed to add, I can use this to add as well. Either using this or the smudgy. So you can still get a straight edge that way. Oops, put it on this side. Okay, that's the basic outline of this chair. Now, I don't want these little lines to show, so I also need to work on not having a halo, because I don't want a white outline around everything. That's a halo, and I don't want a black outline around everything. So it could be that I end up making that background a little bit darker. It could be also that I make this, you know, the background here lighter or darker than what's down here. So I'll play with that. All right, now we need to add a little bit more detail to it. I have so much charcoal on this that I can actually use it to draw with if I need to. And sometimes that's nice to just kind of get a little feel for what's happening. Now, just because I did that basic unit first doesn't mean I'm not going to have to go back and make changes to it. I can already see right now I need to make a change. So I'll keep making changes with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and start playing with the value of each of the shapes. I don't want to outline things, I want to work with shapes. So I'm going to put that on time lapse so you can see me do it a little bit quicker.